Welcome everyone. How you doing today? Hope you're doing great. We're going to talk about what happened to Roy Orbison's family. We're also going to Hendersonville, Tennessee on Old Hickory Lake and visit the property where he and his first wife and kids lived. But he was born on April 23rd, 1936. His name was Roy Kelton Orbison, born in Texas to a working class family. He grew up immersed in musical styles ranging from rockabilly, country, Zydeco, Tex-Mex, and the blues. His dad had given him a guitar for his 6th birthday, and he wrote his first song, A Vow to Love, when he was only 8 years old. In high school, he played the local circuit with a group called the Teen Kings, and when their song Ooby Dooby came to the attention of Sam Phillips, the legendary producer at Sun Records in Memphis, he was invited to cut a few tracks. In addition to a highly collectible album called Roy Orbison at the Rock House, their collaboration yielded a re-recording of Ooby Dooby, and it became his first hit. After landing a record deal with the Nashville-based label Monument in 1960, he began perfecting a sound that would define his career. His big break came when he tried to pitch his composition Only the Lonely to Elvis Presley and the Everly Brothers and was turned down. Deciding to record the song himself, he used his bravado voice, operatic style to create a recording unlike anything Americans had ever heard before. Reaching as high as number 2 on the Billboard singles charts, Only the Lonely has since been deemed a pivotal force in the development of rock music. A year before Beatlemania overtook the United States in 1964, the 4 lads from Liverpool invited Orbison to open for them on their English tour. The first night, Orbison performed 14 encores before the Beatles even hit the stage. He dressed like an insurance salesman, and was famously lifeless during his performances. He never even twitched, said George Harrison. He was awestruck by his stage performance. He was like marble. But what he did have was one of the most distinctive, versatile, and powerful voices in pop music. In the words of Elvis Presley, Orbison was simply the greatest singer in the world. Between 1960 and 1965, he recorded 9 top 10 hits and another 10 that broke into the top 40, which included Running Scared, Crying, It's Over, and Old Pretty Woman. As distinctive as his 3-octave voice and unorthodox songwriting technique was, he was so unglamorous. He was described as geek chic, stricken with both jaundice and bad eyesight as a child. He had sallow skin, thick corrective eyewear, not to mention his shy demeanor. On a fateful day during his 1963 tour with the Beatles, he left his glasses on the plane before the show, which forced him to wear an unsightly prescription sunglasses for the night show. Although he considered it an embarrassing incident, it became an instant trademark. Orbison's unhip, underdog look suited his music well, as lyrics were marked by incredible vulnerability. At a time when rock music went hand in hand with confidence, he dared to sing about insecurity, heartache, and fear. His stage persona, which had been described as borderline masochistic, went a long way toward challenging the traditional ideas of aggressive masculinity in rock and roll. Although the first half of the 1960s saw the rise of Orbison's star, the second half of the decade brought harder times. Tragedy struck when Orbison's wife Claudette was killed in a motorcycle accident in 1966. In 1957, he married his sweetheart, Claudette Frady. She was 17 at the time and he was 21. As the young couple's whirlwind romance was soon thrust into tempestuous territory given Orbison's rapid rise to fame, cracks began to appear. In 1964, Orbison divorced Claudette over her alleged infidelities. However, 10 months later, the pair had reconciled their differences and were once again in a loving relationship. On June 6, Roy and Claudette were setting off on a motorcycle holiday when a truck driver pulled out in front of her bike. She died in his arms an hour later, just 24 years old. He was devastated to lose his beautiful wife. The tragic lyrics and haunting melody of Too Soon to Know, which reached number 3 on the British charts just 2 months later, still tug at the heartstrings 4 decades on. On September 14, 1968, tragedy struck again when the Orbison family home on Old Hickory Lake in Hendersonville, Tennessee, burned to the ground while Orbison was touring in England. 2 of his 3 sons, Roy Jr., born in 1958, and Anthony, born in 1962, died in the fire. His youngest son, Wesley, who was 3 at the time, was saved by Orbison's parents. The Orchard. This pristine site overlooking Old Hickory Lake had its roots in tragedy. In 1968, Johnny Cash's good friend Roy Orbison sold him the land after fire destroyed his home and took 2 of his 3 sons' lives. Cash promised Orbison never to build on the site. When the abundant fruit trees and grapevines that flourished were maintained personally by the Cash family, the orchard came to fruition. So can you all see in there? I can't see over the fence, but isn't that gorgeous? How sad. Let's see if I can walk down to the next thing and see if I can see a little bit better. There's another. You see, since the Cash family there's bees, no longer own it, let me read you what's happened since then. Somebody's put flowers out. Okay. This says, restoring the orchard. After Johnny Cash's passing in 2003, Cottle Drive neighbors Marty Stewart and Connie Smith purchased this site from John Carter Cash, that was their son, and restored it. Its withering fruit trees, rotting railroad ties, and damaged turf. While relocating the fence line to its new position by the evergreens, Stewart designed the gate that now serves as the site's entrance and added cross that marks this space as sacred ground. Stewart also honored Johnny Cash's promise to Roy Orbison never to build on this site. So it's just going to sit here. Now this is the house across the street from the orchard and from Johnny Cash's estate that he purchased for his parents to live across the street from him. And my understanding is when he was sick that he did come to stay here because it was one level and he was in a wheelchair and very sick. But man, what a beautiful property. Wow, look at this house. Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful, beautiful. Orbison coped with the tragedy of losing his 2 sons in the fire by focusing on his music and his faith. He recorded a secret album called One of the Lonely Ones in 1969, which expressed his grief and loneliness. He dedicated a song called God Love You to his sons on the album Milestones in 1973. He said he believed that his sons were in heaven and that he would see them again someday. He also found comfort in his 3 other sons, Wesley, Roy Jr., and Alex, who had inherited his musical talent. He remarried again to Barbara Ann Marie Jacobs in 1969. She helped him overcome depression and rebuild his career. She was born in Germany in 1950, and she was 18 and he was 32 when he asked friends to introduce him to her at the Betley Variety Club in England during his UK tour. They married on March 25th in Hendersonville, Tennessee, and divided their time between their Nashville and Malibu, California home, bringing up their 2 sons, Roy Kelton Orbison Jr., born in 1970, and Alexander Orby Orbison, born in 1975. He returned to his musical career in 1980. However, Eagles invited him to join them on their Hotel California tour. That same year, he rekindled his relationship with country music fans by performing a memorable duet with Emmylou Harris on That Lovin' You Feeling Again, which went on to win a Grammy Award. When Van Halen covered Old Pretty Woman in 1982, rock fans were reminded that the gratitude for the song was owed to Orbison. By the late 80s, he had staged a successful comeback, joining the all-star supergroup, the Traveling Wilburys, alongside Tom Petty, Bob Dylan, George Harrison, and Jeff Lynne, and was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He was performing at the Front Row Theater in Highland Heights, Ohio on December 4, 1988. Exhausted, he returned to his home in Hendersonville to rest for several days before flying to London to film 2 more videos for the Traveling Wilburys. On December 6th, he spent the day flying model airplanes with his bus driver and friend Benny Birchfield and ate dinner at the Birchfield's home in Hendersonville. Birchfield was married to country star Gene Shepard. After he excused himself to go to the bathroom, he collapsed and was rushed to the hospital where he died of a heart attack. He died on December 6, 1988, and was posthumously released a comeback album, Mystery Girl, which reached number 5 on the charts, becoming the highest charting solo album of his career. Although he was only 52 when he died, he lived to see the rightful place in music history restored. A memorial was held in Nashville and another in Los Angeles. He was buried at Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery in an unmarked grave. Barbara was hospitalized from May 11, 2011 until her death from pancreatic cancer on December 6, 2011, at the age of 61. She was buried next to her husband at Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery in Los Angeles. This was followed by a celebration of her life in Nashville, Tennessee. She passed away on the 23rd anniversary of her husband's death. Roy's sons, Wesley, Roy Jr., and Alex, have each a musician in their own right, have dedicated themselves over the last few years to celebrating their father's legacy. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. I really enjoyed the history and visiting Johnny Cash's house and Roy Orbison's house and Johnny's parents' house, and really special for me. And again, I appreciate y'all watching. If you would, please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications when I put on new content. You guys have a blessed day. Until I see you again. Bye.